watching closely.
What's the secret, Max?
You just gotta find something you love to do and then do it for the rest of your life.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Hello, and welcome to The Establishing Shot, a podcast where we do deep dives into directors and their filmographies. I am taking a break this week from that usual main content, and today we're going to be doing a bit of catching up with the movies of the year so far, and also looking forward to the fall. So we're doing a bit of a fall movie preview, if you will, this week. Generally, fall movies are considered to be like September through November. And we're basically going to cover that, and I'm going to include December too. Might as well finish out the year, right? So we're going to be just kind of looking forward to what movies are coming out, what I'm personally excited about, and then also I'm just going to kind of like blast you with all the movies that I kind of came across that I think are worthy of remembering that are coming out this fall. So but first I wanted to kind of update you. I did do a best of the year so far episode in June, and I've seen a decent amount of 2024 movies since then. Most recently saw Alien Romulus, which I thought was a really fun movie. Just really solid, fun alien sci-fi thriller movie. It was good. It wasn't the best Alien movie. I don't think. I've liked the two more recent Ridley Scott additions to the franchise, and then the two originals probably more still. But this one is really good. It's really fun. It's really fun to see in theaters. So definitely recommend that. I would also recommend Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan kind of serial killer thriller. I thought it was a really fun movie. I've heard about some interviews with Shyamalan where he's kind of talking about how much fun he had writing this movie, and you can really see it when you watch it. You can see like, oh, he is having so much fun, and people are always looking for twists in Shyamalan movies, and I think he's a smart enough writer where sometimes even if you know that the twist is coming, it's really fun to kind of see how it's going to play out, and I think he knows that. And so yeah, I thought it was really cool too that he kind of built this movie around finding a way to include his daughter's music. She's kind of the pop star that the concert is for. And yeah, that was really cool to see her working with her dad. I thought that was cool. The Bike Riders I thought was a really good movie. I got to see it in theaters, and it's probably not in theaters anywhere anymore, but that was really fun because all those motorcycle scenes are so loud and really kind of fun to see on a big screen in a loud theater. But man, it was a really enjoyable movie. Austin Butler is just incredible. I thought he did a phenomenal job, and it was fun seeing him work alongside Tom Hardy. Yeah, really good movie, really good visuals, really good drama. Yeah, just really good. Saw Inside Out 2 also, which I thought was really good. The first one is one of my favorites, favorite Pixar movies. That is, and this one is, I would say it's like middle to it's a bit of a step down just because I think it's just the natural, like, it's derivative of the same concept, and so it's not as fresh and original. And so yeah, but I did really appreciate the kind of like, okay, let's move Riley forward in her life and add some new emotions in. It deals with like beliefs and what that means for you as you grow up and build your beliefs. I thought it was really a well constructed, new adding on to what they had already built. So I really enjoyed that. Maybe a few tears. Yeah. I saw the movie Monster, which is Hirokazu Koreeda's newest movie. It's some people kind of had it as a 2023 um, movie, but it really didn't release for people in the US to see it until this year. So I got to see that. Koreeda has some pretty decently well known movies out there like Shoplifters. But Monster was really good. It's about these two kids. You kind of get some different perspectives as you go through the movie. Um, kind of learn. You kind of like will hate a character, and then a different part of the movie, you see a different perspective, and you're like, oh, I still don't know if I like them, but also I don't know if I can hate them. There's a lot of like, it's really interesting. It's a really, really, really interesting character study. So I recommend that. Uh, and that one is a Japanese language film. So um, another one, Long Legs, controversial movie, but I thought it was really good. Man, if it's still showing, I highly recommend trying to see it in theaters. It's very visceral, very. What I like about it is Osgood Perkins. Um, he makes a decision and just goes for it. He doesn't. You can tell he's just like really going all out with all of his decisions. I really like it. It's a rare case too where Nicolas Cage kind of disappears into a role, which is strange to see, but he is. You don't watch it and you're like, oh yes, so Nicolas Cage, like many of his kind of roles are. And Michael Monroe is really good in it too. So I recommend seeing that one. Um, yeah. What else have I seen? Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell is one that I thought was really good. It's very slow. It's is it Vietnamese? Yeah, a Vietnamese language film by Pham Thien An. I probably said that wrong, but Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell. I'm not even going to try to say the Vietnamese title that's translated from, but yeah, it kind of it follows this guy after his I guess his sister-in-law dies, and he's having to, yeah, his sister-in-law dies, and he doesn't really know where his brother is. He's having to like take care of her son. It's like a very slow burn cinema. Some really, really beautiful cinematography. Um, really interesting camera work, character study, drama. So I recommend that. It's not for everyone because it is very long and slow, but yeah. Uh, Another one, Twisters, just like solid 8 out of 10 summer blockbuster. It's not trying to be anything more than that, and I love it for it. So, Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones, both great. Uh, Recommend trying to get and see that one. Tuesday is one that I really, really enjoyed. It's really weird. It's stars Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Lola Pettigrew, um, as a mother and daughter. The daughter has some sort of chronic disease of some sort, maybe a cancer, or I honestly I can't remember. They probably said, I just don't remember. Um, but she's kind of confronting death, who shows up as this really strange bird that can get really small or grow really big, and talks. It's voiced by Arinze Kine. I'm probably saying his name wrong. He's a British actor and playwright. Um, oh man, it's a phenomenal vocal performance. It's very like guttural and weird and strange, and the whole movie is kind of weird and strange. And I think that's probably why I really, really, really went for this one. Some really emotional moments, as you can imagine, too. Another, there's three more that I want to highlight, and these are all like close. Like these could all be in contention for top five movies that I've seen so far. First is How to Have Sex. It is this movie by Molly Manning Walker, starring Mia McKenna Bruce as the lead. And man, is it a troubling watch. It's about these three friends. They're some females from Great Britain, I guess, that go to this Greek island for spring break, and it's just a bunch of underage drinking and partying, and there's going to the beach, and basically it deals with sexual assault and the weird lines that can be crossed, and the shame, and just what these young girls have to deal with from both like their friend circle and people they don't really even know. The this party scene that surrounds that. Um, there's it's a really difficult watch. It made me really, really sad, but it's one of those movies that I'm like, I was kind of listening to some chatter around it after I watched it, and yeah, just hearing a lot of women come out and say, "We need movies like this because this is real. This isn't just some made up story. There are so many women that have experienced this, which makes me incredibly sad and angry. And so it just feels like a movie that is necessary. One of those sorts of movies. So I recommend seeing that. It's yeah, it's on Mubi. If you've never subscribed to Mubi, MUBI, you can probably get a free trial and watch. They have some really great movies on Mubi. Um, yeah, the next one that I've seen since the June episode is I saw the TV Glow, the new Jane Schoenbrunn movie starring Justice Smith and Bridget Lundy Payne, as Owen and Maddie, two friends that they kind of bond over this TV show, which I'm blanking on the name of it, and it's not in the description on Letterboxd. So anyway, they kind of bond over this TV show. It's a very like it's a very strange movie. It's kind of this weird like horror drama. There's definitely some big swings that are taken at the end. Justice Smith is phenomenal in his performance for this movie, and it definitely deals with it. It's Schoenbrunn and others have written about the movie. It definitely deals with trans identity and what kind of the feelings of just feeling out of place and ostracized that a trans person can feel. So very like empathy building in that way. Um, and yeah, it's just a really, really interesting. It's different. I haven't really seen anything quite like it. Kind of, and it kind of delves into an area that like hasn't been explored a whole lot in film, which is like nostalgia for a show that you watched when you were a kid and maybe wasn't that great, but your love for it makes it like rises it up somehow. The connection you had with that piece of pop culture, maybe, and how much it means for you and in your life. Yeah, it's just really interesting. A whole lot of things going on with that one. And the last one is this French language film uh, called uh, The Beast by Bertrand Bonello. Never seen anything else by this director, but I might after this. It's kind of drama romance sci-fi movie, um, starring Lea Seydoux and George McKay. Lea Seydoux is pretty well known. George McKay, probably most people would know him from 1917. He's the main kid in 1917. Um, but yeah, it's it's this like near future where kind of AI has taken over because there was some sort of um I don't know, humans kind of screwed up and so AI took over, and humans have this option to this sort of like DNA operation where they can get rid of their emotions. And this movie is like so it has that, but also like it's dealing with like she has past lives too. And so this uh Lea Seydoux character, Gabrielle, uh has this like relationship with this guy Lewis, who George McKay plays, through these different time periods. So there's this like old, um I don't know exact Victorian it looks like, but obviously in France, so not quite Victorian. I don't know. So it's like that sort of time period, and then 2004 time period, I think is what the middle one is, and then the present, which or it's a little bit in the near future. I can't remember exactly the years, but you kind of see things happen, and it kind of jumps back and forth between those. I can't really explain exactly why I loved this so much. There's a scene towards the end that like gave me chills. Just incredibly, it builds up to it so incredibly well, and it's so incredibly and viscerally. I know people use that word a lot, and I think I've used it twice, but very like real and viscerally acted by Seydoux. Just a really, really interesting movie. Another example of I haven't seen many movies that are doing exactly what this one was doing. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend The Beast. It's a French language film. You can actually stream it on the Criterion channel right now if you have that. But yeah, so those are a lot of movies that I've seen since that June episode. So go check those out. Hi. Quick reminder that you, yes, you, can be a huge help to the production of this show. If you visit establishingshotpod.com/donate, you'll find out how to join the Establishing Shot family through some giving tiers starting as low as $5 a month. You heard that right, only $5 a month. And not only will you be helping me keep the show going, but you'll also get some perks yourself, like early and ad-free episodes, bonus episodes, access to a Discord server where we can chat it up about the show and movies in general, and more. Might even let you choose a movie for me to review for the show. Check out that link in the show notes to learn more. Back to the show. And yeah, I think now we can move into this 2024 fall movie preview. So I'm going to do this. I am picking 5 movies that I'm really excited to see. And I'm going to go through those, and then I'm just going to like spitfire all the movies that are coming out, and maybe a little bit about what they are, or who's in them, or who's making them, that sort of thing. So 5 movies that I am really excited to see. The first one is technically already out, sort of. It had like its opening weekend was like only New York and LA, and then it rolled out to like 100 theaters. It still hasn't shown here in Lafayette, Louisiana, where I am, and I don't know when or if it will, unfortunately. But that movie is Sing Sing, directed by Greg Aquidar. I'm assuming I'm saying his last name right. And it stars Coleman Domingo and a guy named Clarence Macklin. This is based on this prison program that teaches inmates to it just teaches inmates about like theater, whether it's acting or directing or I guess writing, theater, and yeah, so it's this kind of drama based on some real experiences. I think they did some maybe some interviewing and just kind of research into this program, which is really cool. I heard that it has like a really super high success rate of inmates not returning to prison after they've been through the program. So really cool. Um, and the cool thing about this movie is that Coleman Domingo is really the only big actor. The only other name I recognize is Paul Raci. He was in the movie Sound of Metal a few years ago, which I loved. Um, but or Paul Raci, maybe. Anyways, but a lot of the other actors are actually playing versions of themselves. They are actually people that have went through this program, and are now acting in this movie, kind of as versions of themselves, like they're playing characters that have the same name as them. And it's not exactly like, oh, this is exactly my story, but it's kind of like I said, they did the research and kind of wrote it around some of these experiences. And so, really cool. It's supposed to be like, oh, this is definitely going to have some Oscar nominations in acting, and maybe in screenplay. So, I really, really am looking forward to this movie, Sing Sing. Hoping to be able to actually see it. Um, it I would like to see it in a theater if it would show here, but if not, I'll see it however I can. So that's the first one. And I'm not doing these in any sort of order. I'm just kind of doing it in the order that they're coming out. So in case you were wondering, like, oh, is that his most anticipated? Or no, I'm just kind of going by release date order. The second one is coming out, supposed to release October 11th, and that is the movie Saturday Night. And bear with me while I pull it up. But yeah, Saturday Night is directed by Jason Reitman, who you might recognize as the director of movies like Juno or Up in the Air, Tully, Thank You for Smoking. So he's had some good movies. I guess kind of known as a comedy director, I guess. But I am really excited about this. It is based on the first kind of troupe of Saturday Night Live actors and producers and directors, I guess. Um, and yeah, it just has a phenomenal cast. You have Gabriel LaBelle, who played the Spielberg stand-in in The Fabelmans, and he was actually in another movie earlier this year, Snack Shack, which I did enjoy. Cooper Hoffman, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, who you might remember was in Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza and was really great in that. Excited to see him again. Rachel Sennott, who has been in a lot of great things, Shiva Baby, Bottoms last year. And yeah, some more people. So those are some really like great young up and coming actors. And then you have guys like Lamorne Morris, who most people probably know from New Girl. Willem Dafoe is in it. Uh, Matthew Reese, J.K. Simmons is in it. So yeah, it's just got a really great cast, and I'm especially excited to see these kind of young up and coming actors and actresses really get a chance to shine. It's supposed to be like a drama comedy, so I'm just excited. I don't know much else about it. It's kind of a behind the scenes in the 90 minutes leading up to the first broadcast of Saturday Night Live is what it says in the description. So yeah, looking forward to that. Excited about it. That's another one. I wanted to get a comedy in there because the rest of mine are not comedies at all. Which leads me to my next one, which is set to release on November 1st, and that is Steve McQueen's new movie Blitz. This movie has been set to come out for a while now. Stars Saoirse Ronan, which is one reason I'm excited. I really love her as an actress. And so, yeah, it is set in London in World War II. There's this 9-year-old kid, George, who is sent to the countryside for his mother, who is played by Saoirse Ronan, to escape bombings. And this kid is trying to return to his family and embarks on an epic, perilous journey back home as Rita, the mother, searches for him. So yeah, I'm excited because it's Saoirse Ronan. I'm excited because it's Steve McQueen, who you probably know most from directing 12 Years a Slave. He also directed a series of Amazon kind of movies, I guess, that released during the pandemic that I love. The Small Axe series, all of those were really good. But I'm just excited about it. So World War II drama. Just it has Saoirse Ronan. It's directed by Steve McQueen. Yeah, that's all I need, and I'm there. The next one is not going to be any surprise. Releasing on November 22nd is Gladiator 2. Ridley Scott is returning to direct the sequel to his very, very loved movie Gladiator. And yes, you have Denzel Washington showing up in the Gladiator universe. Yes, you have Pedro Pascal showing up here as Marcus Acacius. Excited to see Pedro Pascal in this movie. But the reason it's a Gladiator sequel. It's going to be really fun. A lot of people are going to go see this. But here's the reason I might even be most excited is because Paul Mescal is the star of this movie. He's on the poster. He's front and center in the trailers, playing Lucius Verus. And I am just excited for Paul Mescal to be a huge A-list star after this, because I have really loved the few things I've seen him in. He's just been so phenomenal. An actor. I think he's just set up to be a star, and this hopefully is going to push him into that. I'm really excited to see Ridley Scott return for Gladiator movie. And excited for Denzel and Pedro, like I said, but Paul Mescal is the top. I'm putting him as the top reason I'm excited to see Gladiator 2. And that dude looks ripped in this movie poster. My goodness. Anyway, that was the fourth one. The fifth and final movie I am most excited to see is none other than Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. I am so excited. There's this guy, Buddy Campbell, who I don't really know. Don't know anything about him. Playing Count Orlok, or otherwise known as Dracula. Nicholas Hoult is in it. Willem Dafoe, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Emma Corrin, Ralph Ineson. Man, just great cast. It's a Dracula movie. It's a remake of Nosferatu. It's Robert Eggers of The Lighthouse, The Witch, The Northman fame. Yeah, I am kind of upset that it's not the Nosferatu to continue his the something names. But that's all right. I am pumped for this. It's coming out Christmas Day, December 25th. I don't know. I will not be there Christmas Day because I don't go to movies on Christmas Day, but I might be there the next day. If I did have to say one that I'm most excited about, it's probably this one. So, those are my top 5 anticipated movies for this fall. I guess technically Nosferatu is not a fall movie, but I'm including December, as I said. Hello again. Do you know how you can really support the show for free in just a few minutes or less? That's right. just leave a rating and review on Spotify and Apple, or wherever you listen that might allow for ratings and reviews. These really help the visibility of the podcast. In fact, just hit that pause button right now and drop the review right now. And then you can get back to the show. I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, I trust that you went and left that rating and review now. Back to the show. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spitfire through a bunch more movies that I think are noteworthy that are coming out this fall. I think I have like 30, so I'm not going to spend much time on each one. But first is another one like Sing Sing that technically is already released, but is not in a whole lot of theaters. It is the movie Dee Dee, directed by Sean Wang. So it's actually primarily an English language film, but it's English and Chinese. And it is the Sean Wang, the director, was actually nominated for a live action short this past Oscars called Nine Eye and Waipo, which I really, really loved. I thought it was so sweet and fun. So I've heard good things about this movie. Excited to see it. Yeah. It's about these kids in 2008. So probably will be nostalgic for me because I was a kid still in 2008. A high school kid, but older than these kids, but still. Next one, releasing September 6th, real soon, is Beetlejuice. I am excited to see this. It gives me an excuse to watch the first one again, which I plan to soon. Um, which I think I've seen, but I don't really have. Maybe I've only seen parts of it. I don't have very strong memories, so it might be a whole new experience for me. So excited for Tim Burton's new Beetlejuice with Michael Keaton returning for that. This isn't maybe a notable one, but I was interested in it. It's called The Front Room. Also releasing September 6th, directed by Max Eggers and Sam Eggers, who are twins that I think are half brothers of Robert Eggers. So yeah, interesting. It's a mystery horror, starring Brandy Norwood. Catherine Hunter's in it. Yeah, could be interesting. Another horror movie that at least the trailers they seem interesting is Speak No Evil. Is directed by James Watkins. It's the trailer that I'm sure you've all seen in theaters when you go to movies, with James McAvoy and Mackenzie Davis, Scott McNairy, and Alex West Leffler. This about these couple who are like brought to this kind of countryside estate with this British family, and weird things start happening, I guess. Anyways, interesting. This movie is it's probably closer up there to those first five I named as far as excitement goes. Wolves, directed by John Watts and starring George Clooney and Brad Pitt. That's all. Forget the director. It's all about Clooney and Pitt for me. John Watts he's done the Spider-Man movies for Marvel. I haven't seen anything else he's done, and I think those are just okay. So I'm not really excited about him. I'm really excited about George Clooney and Brad Pitt in the movie. But yeah, I'm excited about that. It's technically releasing on September 20th, a limited release, and then it's going to streaming a week later. So if it's not showing wherever you are, then you can see it on September 27th. It's supposed to release on, I think it's Apple TV, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one. Another one releasing on September 20th is the animated Transformers 1. Just throwing it out there. It's got a really good voice cast. Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan Michael Key, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, John Hamm. Man, that's a great voice cast, you know. um, yeah, it's an animated Transformers movie. Uh, for kids, but also if you like Transformers, for you too. Uh, I don't know if I'm gonna be running out to see that one. I'm not like a huge Transformers guy, but I might see it when it comes to streaming. I don't know. Um, the next one is a big one. It's one that I'm excited about, but unsure about, if that makes sense. It is Francis Ford Coppola's new huge movie, Megalopolis, hugely named as well, starring Adam Driver. Also has Giancarlo Esposito in it, Aubrey Plaza, Shia LaBeouf, John Voight, Jason Schwartzman, Lawrence Fishburne, Catherine Hunter, Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, I mean, it's Francis Ford Coppola, so of course he can get all the actors he wants. This one has been real controversial since I think it premiered at Venice Film Festival. It's been real controversial. Um, you know, it is what it is. It's Francis Ford Coppola. He's old. He can make whatever he wants. So yeah. But yeah, that's coming out. Another one coming out on September 27th is the animated movie The Wild Robot, directed by Chris Sanders, who did he's done some good movies. He directed and wrote, I believe, Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. He also wrote Mulan. So yeah, he's done some good stuff. I'm excited about this one, mostly because I've actually been reading the little chapter book that it's based off of out loud to my son, and it's a really good story. It's about this robot that gets turned on an island with all these animals, kind of starts befriending the animals, learning how to live in the wild. Um, yeah, Lupita Nyong'o is voicing Roz, the main robot. Pedro Pascal does some voice work. Bill Nye, Stephanie Hsu, Mark Hamill, Catherine O'Hara, Ving Rhames. Yeah, some uh, great voice actors. And I know we're about like halfway through it, and it's a really sweet story. I've been enjoying reading it with him. So hopefully he'll get to go see that with me in the theaters. Next up, moving into October. On October 4th, of course, we have Joker Folie à Deux, the new Todd Phillips sequel to the Joker movie, starring Joaquin Phoenix as the titular Joker and Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Should be interesting. Also, you got some other good actors in there: Brendan Gleeson, Catherine Keener, Zazie Beetz, Steve Coogan. Yeah. This one is one that like I had a I've talked before. I don't know on this podcast, but on another podcast I was a guest on about how I had a weird experience with the first one. Thought it was good, but the audience reaction was really made me feel icky. So I'm really, really interested to see what he does with this movie. There's some sort of music aspect. I don't know if it's like musical numbers necessarily. You can't really tell from the trailer or any of the the press. But yeah, I am definitely interested to see what they do with this. Another one coming out on October 4th is the Outrun. This one also has Saoirse Ronan, which is really the main reason I was interested in it. The director directed a movie that it had some buzz a few years ago called System Crasher. If you've ever heard of that movie, I didn't get around to seeing it, but it did have some good buzz around it. And this one is by the same director. It has Saoirse Ronan in it. It seems like a drama of sorts. So yeah, interested in that. Um, Skipping over Saturday night on October 11th, which I already mentioned, we have also on October 11th supposed to be releasing, maybe. It was kind of unclear. The movie We Live in Time, directed by John Crowley. who directed Brooklyn. It's probably his most well-known book. I mean, book. His most well-known movie. This one stars Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield in a drama romance. Kind of has some memes out right now with the merry-go-round horse kind of shoving its head in front of Garfield and Pugh's like romantic moment. If you've seen those memes, it's actually really funny. I don't really know much about this movie. I know that Brooklyn was good, and I know that Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield are good, so could be good. Smile 2 is coming out October 18th. If you liked the first one, then there's this one coming out. Don't know anything about the first one or this one, so that's just for the people that are fans of the first Smile movie. Another one coming out on October 18th is Flight Risk. This is Mel Gibson directed, which is interesting. It's about a pilot transporting an air marshal with a fugitive to go to a trial. Stars Mark Wahlberg and Topher Grace and Michelle Dockery. So it could be interesting. I like Mark Wahlberg and I like Topher Grace. So another one also October 18th. Don't know how big of a release this is going to get. It is an animated movie called Kensuke's Kingdom. The description says young Michael, shipwrecked on an remote island, must adapt to life alone. Over time, he feels another presence, learning that this world is home to both unimaginable danger and beauty. Has some good voice acting, voice actors with Sally Hawkins, Cillian Murphy, Ken Watanabe is in it. That's just, well, his voice is. So yeah, it seems interesting. It's one of the production companies that are behind it. One of the studios has also done some stuff with Cartoon Saloon, which I really enjoy. The few of those I've seen, they're from out of that animation studio, so could be good. October 25th, the only movie I really saw was Venom: The Last Dance. I have not seen any of these Venom movies starring Tom Hardy. I don't know if I'll get around to it anytime soon. But yeah, there's some people that like these okay, or at least think they're fun. So yeah, that's coming out. I already mentioned November 1st, we have Blitz coming out. November 1st, though, is packed. I could have picked either of these three movies that are set to release on November 1st. Now, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if one of them kind of shifts and its release date to kind of get out from under the other. But Blitz is coming out on that date that I mentioned, Steve McQueen movie with Saoirse Ronan. But you also have a new Robert Zemeckis movie called Here, starring none other than Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. So that should be interesting. You also have Paul Bettany uh, in the film, along with some other maybe less notable names. Kelly Riley is probably one that people might recognize. Michelle Dockery. Anyways, this movie is, it says, an odyssey through time and memory, centered around a place in New England where, from wilderness and then later from a home, love, loss, struggle, hope, and legacy play out between couples and families over generations. So yeah, just this apparently big epic drama written by, I think Robert Zemeckis wrote it as well. Let's see. Yeah, written by Robert Zemeckis and Eric Roth, who wrote Forrest Gump. Also wrote Killers of the Flower Moon, The First Dune. He's written a lot of movies, or a lot of good movies, I think. So yeah, this actually could be good. It could be. It'll be at least interesting. Gotta love Tom Hanks. Eric Roth has written some good movies, so Here could be good. November 1st. The other movie set to release on November 1st is A Real Pain, which is Jesse Eisenberg's second feature film that he's directed. And he's also starring in it alongside Kieran Culkin, who I think is probably actor we probably should see more of. I've liked him in some of the things I've seen him in. But this is about some cousins who go on a tour through Poland to honor their grandmother. And yeah, the things with their family history. Obviously, it's Poland. I think there's some stuff, maybe something around World War II stuff going on, maybe in their family history. I'm not sure exactly, and I don't want to know because I want to see it and find out. So, uh, I've heard really good things about this movie. Some great acting. Some, yeah, I've heard good things. So, man, 3 movies on November 1st that I'm really excited about. I could have picked here or A Real Pain for my top 5. And I also could have picked this movie coming out on November 8th for my top 5, but I didn't. And that is a new movie called Conclave by Edward Berger, who directed the recent All Quiet on the Western Front movie. That I think it got a Best Picture nom. And yeah, this movie stars Ray Fiennes and Stanley Tucci and John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini. Man, what a cast! What a phenomenal cast! But it is. I'm going to read the description because it is really intriguing to me. I really am excited to see this movie. It says Cardinal Lawrence, who is played by Ray Fiennes, is tasked with leading one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting a new pope. Once the Catholic Church's most powerful leaders have gathered from around the world and are locked together in the Vatican halls, Lawrence finds himself at the center of a conspiracy and discovers a secret that could shake the very foundation of the church. Yeah, I am very intrigued. I want to see this movie. Um, yeah, so that is coming out on November 8th. I probably could have picked that for my top 5 too, but I had to narrow it down. There is another movie on November 8th coming out that I thought was notable because has Barry Kagan starring in it. It's a movie called Bird, directed by Andrea Arnold, who also directed the movie American Honey, that was pretty well known 2016 movie. But yeah, it seems like an interesting little drama family with this family. Yeah, that's on November 8th, right? Yes, November 8th. November 15th, we have our first Christmas movie called Red One, which is the code name for Santa Claus in this movie starring Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons, and Lucy Liu. So yeah, there's that. It's a Jake Kasdan movie of the new Jumanji series fame, also Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. So it'll be kind of a wacky little Christmas comedy, I guess. So that could be fun to see. We'll see, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that it's there to say the least. Moving forward, you have, of course, I already mentioned Gladiator 2 coming out November 22nd, but also on November 22nd, you have Wicked, or it's just called Wicked right now. I thought it was going to be, I guess they didn't want to put part 1 on it. I don't know. Directed by John M. Chu, who has done Crazy Rich Asians, In the Heights, which I really liked. I thought Crazy Rich Asians was really good too. So yeah, I haven't seen anything else by him, but those 2 movies are good. So yeah, who knows? This Wicked adaptation of the Broadway musical could be good, starring Cynthia Erivo, who I have not seen in anything. I haven't seen any of the movies she's in. Ariana Grande also in it, along with some others. Michelle Yeoh, that's fun. Jeff Goldblum, that's fun. Yeah, so I'm mildly excited to see this. I'm kind of wary of it, but excited. I've never actually seen the Broadway musical, so I kind of wonder if I should like watch a filmed version of a filmed like the Broadway version of the musical before I see the movie. Maybe, I don't know. I do think it's funny. I've seen some people trying to make a Barbenheimer for the release of Gladiator 2 and Wicked and naming it Glicked, which I think is really hilarious. I plan on calling it Glicked Day, and I think you should too. There is one more movie coming out on November 22nd that I thought was interesting. It is called Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin, directed by Todd Kamarnicki, who so I thought it was notable. He is was one of the writers, or I don't know if there are multiple, but he wrote Sully, the Tom Hanks Clint Eastwood movie, which I thought was good. So maybe this movie will be good too. There's not really any actors of note, but I do find the historical person of Dietrich Bonhoeffer to be a very interesting person. So yeah, maybe with a good writer and if there's some decent acting and directing, yeah, maybe that could be good. We have a few more to get through here. So let's roll on into the end of November. On November 22nd, you have Moana 2 coming out. Moana 2. Yeah. Uh, it's a Moana sequel. Moana is one of my favorite Disney classics, Disney animated classics, as it would be called. So I love Moana. I don't know that I can say I'm terribly excited for Moana 2. I think it's very unnecessary, but it could be really good. I might end up loving it. So, yeah, kind of some, I guess, wary excitement there for Moana 2. Moving into December, I'll kind of roll through these. We have on December 6th, we have this movie Y2K coming out, starring Jaden Martell, Rachel Zegler, and Julian Dennison, among some other kids. It is about the last night of 1999. Some high schoolers crash a New Year's Eve party. Yeah, directed by Kyle Mooney, who has not directed anything else. So yeah, there you go. Kind of a debut director. Could be fun. I don't really know. We'll find out. It looks to be just a comedy. So the next week on December 13th, you have a couple movies coming out. Craven the Hunter, which will be the next. I thought this was a Marvel. Is Craven the Hunter not a Marvel character? I thought he was. But I'm kind of just talking while I look up if Craven the Hunter is a Marvel character. You're probably like, yes, duh, he is, as I'm saying this. But I just honestly don't know. But sorry, I'm really trying to look it up and I'm not finding anything that is helpful is to help me with Craven the Hunter. Anyway, let's see. Craven is a big game hunter whose goal is to beat Spider-Man. Yes. If he is trying to beat Spider-Man, then he is definitely a Marvel character. So, yeah, Craven the Hunter. Thank you for bearing with me as I confirmed that. Directed by J.C. Chandor. I haven't seen any of his other movies, but I've heard some good things about Triple Frontier, which was a Netflix released movie back in 2019. So there's that. It's starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe, and Ariana DeBose. So some good actors. I'm not like excited about this, but I'll probably go see it. The other movie that is set to release on December 13th is The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. It is an animated Lord of the Rings movie directed by Kenji Kamiyama. Yeah, it's the Lord of the Rings movie. It's animated. I'm excited to see it, honestly. It's a story we haven't seen really on film before, so it could be fun. Moving on, December 20th, a movie that I don't know what to think about. I don't really want to go see it in theaters because I absolutely hated its predecessor, and that would be Mufasa, the Lion King. Here's the thing: it's got some really good actors that are doing the voice acting, so that's fun. The first one had that too, though. Um, but here's the kicker: it's directed by Barry Jenkins. Moonlight, If Bill Street Could Talk, um, two phenomenal movies. What is he doing here directing Mufasa the Lion King? I don't know. Uh, it's very confusing. I don't know what to do with it, but I guess if I hear really good things, might have to go see it. I just don't expect to hear very good things about this movie because the first one was so bad. But we'll see. Mufasa the Lion King. December 20th. Also, December 20th, it's got some strong competition in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Probably most notably, you've got Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog. So there you go. Sonic 3. I haven't seen any of these Sonic movies, but people really like them. So maybe I'll check some of them out. A couple more. One more on December 20th that I wanted to point out. The Room Next Door, starring Julianne Moore and Tilda Swinton. Um, Also, you got John Turturro showing up. This is directed by Pedro Almodovar, who is a really well respected Spanish film director. The only movie I've actually seen by him was a 2019 film called Pain and Glory, starring Antonio Banderas, which was really, really good. So, yeah, I think he's a really good director based off of his reputation and that one film I've seen. But also Julianne Moore and Tilda Swinton teaming up is really interesting to me. So yeah, I thought that was a movie of note that I wanted to point out. And then on December 25th, wrapping up the year, you've got Nosferatu, which I've already talked about, and also a James Mangold directed Bob Dylan biopic called A Complete Unknown, starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. And then you've got Edward Norton as Pete Seeger, Elle Fanning as Sylvie Russo, Monica Barbaro as Joan Baez. Yeah, yeah, I'm very intrigued by this. James Mangold has directed some pretty good movies. He did the most recent Indiana Jones film, Destiny, Dial of Destiny. He also directed Logan, Girl Interrupted, Ford versus Ferrari, Walk the Line, 310 to Yuma. He's directed some good movies. You know, he did the Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix. Um, uh, so you know he's got some success with the music biopic with John Phoenix is Johnny Cash, if you weren't aware what Walk the Line is. um so that was a pretty well received movie. It's pretty good. So this could be pretty good too. It's I think it's a young Bob Dylan, which would make sense if it was old Bob Dylan with Timothy Chalamet playing him, but yeah. So that's wrapping up the year. I'm sure there are many other movies that are coming out that might show up that didn't show up in my research, but yeah, that's the fall movie preview. I'm excited about a lot of these movies. I'm excited for some movies that have already come out that I haven't seen yet. And so, yeah, if you have any movies that you're interested in seeing that I didn't mention, feel free to reach out. Yeah, you can send a voicemail in, and I'll try to include it on the next show if I can. You can do that. You can go to the website, I believe. Yeah, you can. Establishingshotpod.com, and right there on the right side of your screen, you'll see a little leave a voicemail button that you can press and send a voice recording. That would be fun if you wanted to share maybe one of these movies that I mentioned that you're excited about, or maybe even just your favorite movie of the year so far. It would be fun to hear that. So, yeah, do that. it just takes a second. Just go leave a voicemail on the website, establishingshotpod.com. Go for it. But that is all I have for you this week. Next week, we are going to be jumping into a sort of intermission, if you will, of our Spielberg series, kind of talking about recapping his movies of the 70s and 80s, looking forward to his movies of the 90s and 2000s. And yeah, so that's what you have to look forward to next week. But until then, I have been Eli Price, and you've been listening to The Establishing Shot. We will see you next time.
We were happy here. For a little while.
But look, I figure it this way. Better to be king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime.